for a party. But the party for 2003 could be ending. Their team has to win tonight and again on Saturday to get back to the conference finals. Dallas is going for the clincher. Game 6 is next.
This is it. Either you do or you die. The NBA playoffs, the strong survive. Crunch time, gut check, now or never. Game 6 playoffs, it gets no better.
The worst of all possible worlds for Sacramento. What a huge blow to not just this game, maybe, but the entire playoff. The entire playoff hopes of the Kings may have gone up in smoke.
Back at home, it's a must-win situation. Kings don't remedy, they're on vacation.
Can Dirk and Van Exel pull it off again? Well, it gotta come hard, cause Kings came to win.
We welcome you to the loud house of the league. This is Arco Arena in the state capital of California. It's the capital of NBA noise, and they're going to need the sellout crowd, a lot of noise, and everything that's gone right for the last few years to try to get back to the Western Conference Finals. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Tirico. Sacramento must do something it has never done before. Win Game 6 and Game 7 to move on to the next round. We have to preface this entire series with this reminder. They've taken the best player off one of the best teams. Without Chris Webber, Sacramento is not nearly the team that they were on their way to 59 regular season wins. But fact is, they're still down 3-2. If they want to go on, they need a big game from one of their big men, Vlade Divac. He's standing by with our David Aldridge.
Thanks very much, Vlade. How much pressure are you putting on yourself tonight to perform in a big way in a big game?
Well, we know this game is very important, and we know we can play much better than last game against Dallas in Dallas. So we have to put, a lot of aggressiveness, especially down lower post, make sure they defend us, so I can pass the ball to our shooters outside.
How do you keep from playing their game? They got you guys playing their game in Game 5.
Well, that's the key. I think, if we control the tempo, I think we are in better shape to win the game. So we have to make sure that we are focused on what we have to do and basically take good shots. Bad shots leads them in fast breaks, a lot of easy points.
How's your elbow?
It's a little sore, but I got to think positive, just let it go and play.
All right, Vlade, good luck tonight. Back to you.
Thank you, David. Great pleasure to be joined tonight by NBA champion Sean Elliott. Sean, in addition to Vlade Divac playing better and playing longer, not getting in foul trouble, Sacramento also has to get a Mike Bibby 2002 playoff game in Game 6 of this 2003 series.
No question about it. Mike Bibby needs to play aggressive basketball tonight. He needs to be very aggressive, as a matter of fact. And you remember last year in that series when the Kings dominated, it was because Mike Bibby dominated that point guard spot. But it's been a reversal this year. Steve Nash has dictated the tempo. He's taking it at him. Mike Bibby tonight needs to penetrate. He needs to knock down that jumper. He needs to set up his teammates.
Jokingly, people referred to the Mavericks as, a Ralph Cramton team. Hey, Alice, there was no D in Dallas. But if they win this series, we may look back at Game 5, Quarter 3, when Big D's D finally showed up.
Yeah, we've been alerted. We're the media. We've been alerted that Dallas Mavericks played defense in Game 5. Talking to Avery Johnson earlier, he said he was astonished the way they played in that third quarter. We did things all year long, he said. We started bumping people. We didn't let guys get into their comfort zone. We didn't let them feel comfortable out there on the court. We didn't let them go to their spots. We disrupted their offense. And if we do that tonight, we're going to win this ball game.
Those are the little things you need to do to close out a series. Dirk Nowitzki and company learned firsthand how tough it is to close out a series when they couldn't do it against Portland. But they will try to do it here tonight, taking on an inspired Sacramento team that has seen Webber hurt, Christie step up, Stojakovic have record numbers, but Bibby and Vlade must play their normal game. On the other side, in Games 2 and 3 and 5, Dallas has rained threes to put the Mavericks in position to do something they've only done once before, 15 years ago. Will Nick Van Exel and the Mavs get to the Western Conference Finals? We'll check in with Kevin Frazier and Greg Anthony in the studio, then back for Tip in Sacramento.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs, brought to you by Saturn, makers of the View, redesigned L-Series, and the all-new Ion.
Dirk Nowitzki averaging 13, almost 14 rebounds a game. It's key because Dallas taking care of rebounding the ball so far in this series. The game is on the way. Kevin Frazier and Greg Elliott inside playoff central. And as we count down to Dallas and Sacramento, Greg, Rick Adelman called this a one-game season for his team.
Well, there's no question it's a one-game series. I mean, think about it. Just ask the Los Angeles Lakers.
And we'll get to that in a minute. We're going to get, don't jump the gun. We're going to get to that in a second.
It's going to be important for Sacramento tonight to come out and play with a lot of energy and dominate the paint. That's something that's not happened in this series with the Mavs outscoring them in 3 of the 5 games in the paint. That's supposed to be the strength of Sacramento, what separates these two teams. The fact that you're getting the Mavericks playing better on the interior. This is more of what Sacramento has to do. Doug Christie here, getting to the basket. Dallas is not a very good interior defensive team, but Sacramento has made, Sacramento has made them better on the interior because they are not attacking. They're selling for jump shots, playing the Mavericks game, and they're going to lose this series if they continue to do that.
Did I just call you Greg Elliott?
Yeah, I was going to let that slide.
You know, we were talking about Sean Elliott, how he has to get to the East Coast.
Sean has hair.
Well,
Sean has
that's
hair.
a great
I don't
point.
have hair. You know, I'm disappointed.
I'm getting you confused.
Yeah, I thought we were clear.
All right, speaking of disappointment, 3-time defending world champion Lakers in a must-win situation. Right, Greg?
Yeah.
Tonight against San Antonio. Now, historically, when they're in a must-win situation, Lakers have done well. So they needed a victory tonight, down 3-2 to the Spurs. In the past, they have managed to somehow handle their business. Of course, last year against the Kings, they won that huge Game 7 and battled back from a 3-2 deficit. What would happen tonight in the Staples Center? All the stars out. Shaq's there always, but it was a night full of stars. But the biggest 2 stars for L.A., Shaq and Kobe doing their thing. 43-37 Spurs, but Tim Duncan unstoppable.
I tell you, he played so well in this game. He came out and set the tone from the beginning, dominated this game. Shaq could not guard him. Nobody for the Lakers could touch Tim Duncan.
Manu Ginobili, another member of that supporting cast that came up so big. And speaking of the supporting cast, Bruce Bowen
played extremely well the entire series and gave him a big boost offensively. You know what he's going to do on the defensive end.
And speaking of supporting cast, old but tasty, Kevin Willis. You don't box out.
Old but tasty.
The Lakers are done. The 3-time defending champions have been dethroned 110-82. There will be a new champion in the NBA as the Lakers go down, and there's a few shocked folks out there in the world.
Well, there are, and I think at the end of the day, though, you really shouldn't be totally shocked when you think about this Lakers team. And I had problems with them earlier in the season because they had no athleticism. Basically, they played up below the rim. You know, Rick Fox is getting up there. Robert Horry obviously had a very disappointing series. They're going to have to go out and elevate their post-interior play and also get more athletic out on the exterior to go along with what Kobe's doing if they want to get back to that championship.
Yeah, and you look at the Lakers, they're out, and does that change the complexion of the Western Conference Finals now because you lose Shaq, that dominant center, and Tim Duncan right now is playing like the MVP. He earned his stripes tonight, you have to say.
Well, not only does it change the complexion of the Western Conference, it also changes the Eastern Conference because I'll tell you right now, there's 3 teams that believe they can have a legitimate chance to win a world championship, and you can't doubt it because other than Tim Duncan, there is no dominant big man left in these playoffs. And with the way that those teams in the East play, they do have enough defense to go along with just enough offense to maybe give some teams in the West a real run for their money at that title.
And I think this is very important for the Spurs because a lot of people would say that they won their title during the strike-shortened season, and people would say, oh, that's a tainted title.
Yeah, no, a world championship's a world championship. That's literally, well, not the champions. If you're a champion, you never say that. No, that's right. I trade mine in for that.
Greg Elliott and I will be back. I can't believe you didn't correct me. Peja Stojakovic getting ready. He'll be a key if the Kings season will continue. Games next.
For the 178th time in a row, Arco Arena is sold out. And tonight they hope to see their Sacramento Kings stay alive in the Western semifinals against the Dallas Mavericks. There's new energy for both teams. They really believe now the Laker dynasty is off their roadmap. As we look at the Bud Light starting lineups, 2 teams still with championship dreams go at it. Steve Nash and Michael Finley, the guard. Raja Bell gets another start and a good game in Game 5. Dirk Nowitzki, Ray LaFrance up front. Sacramento with Mike Bibby and Doug Christie. Peja Stojakovic, Hedo Turkoglu from Turkey, and Vlade Divac from Serbia. the international starting lineup. For Don Nelson, it's the 293rd time that he is participating in an NBA playoff game. 150 as a player, and now he works as a coach for the 143rd time. On the other side, it's Rick Adelman, who took Portland to back-to-back finals, or a couple of finals, in 90 and 92. An opportunity for Adelman here to do something Sacramento's never done, win games 6 and 7 in a playoff series. Chris Webber's jersey is being worn by Mateen Cleaves, but Chris Webber, who is such a force in everything Sacramento does, with the knee injury late in Game 2's third quarter, takes a seat just behind the Kings bench. Sean Elliott, this was the number that was talked about so often last year. In their playoff series, 5 games, 207 baskets scored by Sacramento, 115 layups and dunks. Obviously no Webber, but 30 less layups and dunks does tell you that Dallas has improved its defense a little bit.
Well, they have. They really have improved their defense, but you also got to consider Chris Webber out 3 games. You have to figure that he's going to get 4 or 5 easy attempts, but you're right. The Mavericks started out this year really intent on playing much better defense, and it showed up particularly in Game 5.
So we're all set for Game 6. Danny Crawford is the crew chief along with Bob Delaney and Joe Forte, the officials assigned by the NBA. Sacramento's longtime roadblock, and the team that's in Dallas's head is out of the way. There'll be a new champion in the NBA. Dallas can get to the Western Finals if they can win Game 6 here tonight.
Well, the Lakers were in everybody's heads. They're in San Antonio's heads, Dallas, and the Kings.
And there's certainly been a buzz in the arena since that final score was posted. And the word Spurs win series has been up on the boards here in Arco. Nash to LaFrentz, who got Divac out of the way. LaFrentz missed it, and it will be Sacramento ball. What do you look for early, Sean, in this game?
I'm going to look to see how aggressive Mike Bibby is, and I also like to see how the Mavericks are going to approach the offensive end. I'd like to see them penetrate and pitch, and that's been their classic style all year long.
Turkoglu came into the starting lineup for Webber with the injury. Bibby trying to be aggressive, turned away by a pair of 7-footers. Divac couldn't get it to go, and LaFrentz pulls down the rebound. Michael Finley pushes the other way and gets the first goal of the game.
Sacramento's been a little lax defensively. If you're going to allow in an elimination game Michael Finley to go through 2 or 3 guys, shows that you're almost not ready to play.
There's trap on Bibby to Turkoglu. Divac twice has had opportunities to score, and that time he turned it over. Nash, who has statistically had the better of Mike Bibby, now a switch. Finley with the height advantage over Bibby. Stojakovic the rebound, had 39 in that Game 3 Classic, a double overtime 4-point win by the Mavericks. Stojakovic all the way, got it back, and Sacramento has missed its first 3 shots here tonight.
That's one thing Dirk's been doing this entire series. He's been rebounding the basketball.
Rebounding like a fiend, averaging 14 a game. This is a guy who averages 10 boards a game in the regular season. Screen and roll, Nowitzki couldn't catch it. It was not touched by Sacramento. It's Kings ball, and here's David Aldridge.
Guys, the Kings cannot believe how badly they played in the third quarter of Game 5. They completely got out of their game. Bad shots, forced shots, doing things that they're not used to doing. So they feel like they have got to reestablish the tempo, slow the game down, not play Dallas' style. As Keon Clark said before the game, I don't like fishing, I don't like fish, I'm ready to keep playing.
Well, Bibby can't knock it down, and Mike's got to find it here to keep them away from whatever summer hobbies they choose. Nash traveled on the pass, is called by Bob Delaney.
Well, my question is, how can Keon Clark not like fishing?
I don't like fishing, Sean.
Oh, sorry.
Do you?
But I love to fish.
See you as an angler. Get to one of the ESPN outdoor shows.
Don't tip me.
Doug Christie's been very good the last couple of games. To Stojakovic. Boy, Sacramento, you expected a huge energy surge at the start. They're 0-5 and a turnover here in the game's first 2:25.
Exactly. Dallas has done a nice job of weathering any kind of early storm Sacramento would throw at them.
Nowitzki on the miss. We're 1 of 9 combined here.
Now, you would expect Sacramento to come out with a blitz early on.
See how Vlade does against 6'11" Rafe LaFrentz. A hand to Bibby. A lid on it for the home team.
Well, both his shots look good early on, just unable to fall.
Christie has Nash this trip down. It means Raja Bell being watched by Bibby. Nowitzki working on Turkoglu. Turkoglu's done a nice job in these couple of games defensively on Dirk. Open floor, Stojakovic waits for Christie, whose shot has come back. But not there. 0 for 7.
He was floating to his left when he shot that ball.
Nash straight away, straight on. He missed the three.
Yeah, both teams right now just an outside shooting contest.
Christie trying to penetrate. The teams have combined 1 for 13. Wait, we can set the clock back at 12 and start over. Vlade. Stojakovic was waiting for it to come out and couldn't get it to go.
He just mistimed that tip.
Nash to Finley. Acrobat in the air. He missed and a foul is called as Finley was hit on the arm.
I'd like to see Michael Finley go in there after a few trips up and down the floor, go in there and power dunk that ball. Because he's the athletic one on the perimeter. He has the ability to go right over the top of the defender. This time he tries to avoid him, and if he goes up there with power, most of the time he's going to get a three-point play.
2 free throws for the 8th-year man out of Wisconsin. And a good series.
You know, he goes in there with power, Mike, and it's not like the Kings right now have shot blockers on the floor. Vlade Divac years ago was an excellent shot blocker, but in that situation, Michael Finley has a clear path to the basket. Go ahead and make a statement.
Funny, he was such an athletic star at Wisconsin. The knock against him was his outside game. His outside game improved. Now people want to go back to the rim a little bit more. Last 8 possessions. Ugly.
I'm nitpicking. I love Michael Finley's game.
Turkoglu got close and got the first 2 for Sacramento. So it takes the Kings 3 minutes, 49 seconds to get on the board.
Well, I know both these teams have aspirations of winning an NBA title, but to beat San Antonio, they're not going to be able to allow teams to just penetrate the ball right down your throat without any help whatsoever.
Raja Bell with the hoop. Bell had 13 in the last game. Turkoglu got Nowitzki in the air. It's not like Sacramento's been taking bad shots.
No, not at all. Yeah, they've had some good looks. Maybe had some good looks, just ball in and out.
D-Bounce out high to meet LaFrance. Christie waits. 6 to shoot for Finley. Tough shot, Nowitzki. Over Turkoglu.
Yeah, Turkoglu is 6'10" and has arms on him, and Dirk just casually turns and lost that ball over the top of him.
Evans lost it again. Still plenty of time, 10 on the clock. A very determined Vlade Divac to get his first hoop of the night.
He's got junk in his game, as I like to say. He's got all the old man moves.
Nice pass by Finley to LaFrance. One of the foul on Divac, who got in early foul trouble in game 5.
That's where you kick it off the glass.
Christie brings it out. So Sacramento 2 of 13, shooting 15%. But Dallas only ahead by 4 as the Mavs have gone 3 of 9 to open. Nash and Nowitzki trying to work the game to pop free. Well defended by Sack and LaFrance. That's what Rick LaFrance says, hey, I'm here for board, but to hit that weak side, outside shot.
He was waiting for that ball for about 10 seconds. Finley had him earlier in the possession, but Finley was so intent on waiting for Dirk Nowitzki. He passed him up.
It's a nice job by Nash to get his hand down and knock it off the sneaker of Bibby. Log on to NBA.com for the exclusive 2003 playoff section, featuring live post-game press conferences, photo galleries, video highlights, and more. Love it live on NBA.com. LaFrance for 3, and the Mavs lead by 9, and Adelman's got to think about a timeout here. Yeah. So the Dallas Mavericks have seen Sacramento get 4 points in 14 possessions, Sean.
Well, everybody's hitting. You have Dirk Nowitzki dropping jumpers. Ray LaFrance comes back with 5 quick points, and that's what makes this team so dangerous. Right now, Don Nelson has 5 guys on the floor that can score the bucket. There you see Dirk Nowitzki drawing the attention out to Ray LaFrance. That's a 7-footer there. And not only that, he's a good foot 2 feet behind the line, and he still drains that shot.
Is it the night of the Texas two-step? The night the 2 Texas teams take out the 2 California teams to get to the Western Conference Finals.
Welcome back. A very emotional Kobe Bryant spoke after the Lakers lose to the Spurs 110-82. Spurs headed to the Western Conference Finals. They eliminate the Lakers. Kobe emotional afterwards.
Kobe, it's a difficult moment for you. We appreciate your time. How disappointed are you?
Well, I just hate losing. It's a tough loss. They played extremely well. We just have to get ready for the offseason. Next season for us starts right now.
Wow, it's a powerful visual as well as the sound to see red-eyed and tears in his eyes Kobe Bryant as the reality sets in that the Lakers season is done and San Antonio moves on to meet the winner of this series. The Western Conference Finals will start at the SBC Center on Monday.
Well, I think it just goes to show that Tim Duncan now is the best player in the game.
Divac's the hoop there to make it 13-6.
How do you leave Vlade Divac? That's a beautiful fake. When I talked about having that chunk in his game, that old man's game, that play there highlights.
Bibby with the foul. He was trying to force the steal on the double. Well, if he was a pitcher, he would be a crafty veteran. As a basketball player, he's a crafty veteran as well.
Well, he's spicy. Watch his fake here. Ray Prince bites on that help. He was going to help Michael Finley guard his man around that screen. Vlade Divac holds onto the ball. Easy two.
After the Bibby foul, a Nash miss. Christie in transition goes right at LaFrance. Stojakovic tried to crash the offensive glass but couldn't. Dallas controlled the boards in the last game. The Mavs, as a matter of fact, set a playoff record for rebounds in a game.
Well, Dallas looks focused right now.
Turkoglu recovering after doubling Nash. His man was Finley, who missed the three. Christie on the rebound.
I may be nitpicking it there, but Turkoglu's a step. He's right on top of Michael Finley. Finley has that athletic ability. He can blow right past him. Where Dallas can't settle for jumpers all the time.
This is Bibby for three. That's where he's been really struggling. Stojakovic is blocked inside by LaFrance. So the Kings are 3 of 17 from the field as Raja Bell misfires again. Dallas nothing to sing about either. 5 of 14.
Neither team burned up, but that last possession, Ray Prince showing you some interior presence with that nice block.
Christie the bang in the bucket. Chance for a three-point play.
Doug Christie working down low, and Ray Prince came over at the last minute attempting to block that, but Christie here working against Raja Bell. Too much size. You see the foul there, and the help defense just a touch too late.
Christie connects on the free throw. He has been their best player in games 4 and 5, and the best player in this series. 36 in game 2, 40 in game 3. Nick Van Exel ready to check on it. Nowitzki posting on Turkoglu. Sean, you mentioned it before the game started. Sometimes Nowitzki's shot looks better as he's fading away.
Yeah, some players get in a rhythm. Some players that I've played against over the years, they need something special to really help them finish that shot. Clyde Drexler used to kick his feet out. You see Dirk Nowitzki's fading away a lot of the time.
Divac goes back inside, so Vlade giving some good energy here. 6 of the early Sacramento 11. Nash off the mark, went to dry his hands. Feeling like it slipped out. Just to let those of you know who are looking for SportsCenter, Stojakovic knocks down 3. SportsCenter is currently airing over on ESPN2 with their reaction to the Lakers being eliminated. But here we're live in Arco to see who will face the Lakers. Game 6, Sacramento wants to send it back to Dallas for a Game 7 on Saturday night. LaFrance with a silencing 2.
I know Dallas has the early lead here, but really their game plan they need to penetrate a little bit more. Talking to Avery Johnson before the game, he really thought that they needed to start inside out first, and he meant by penetrating the ball to the bucket, not necessarily posting the ball up.
Foul here on Raja Bell as he was holding Doug Christie's. That is 2 on Bell. Much needed outside shot stroke by Stojakovic, who since that marathon double overtime game has been struggling. Just 34 points in the last 2.
Well, don't blame the guys if they're tired. There's Stojakovic knocking that shot down, and you brought it to my attention that he lands with his right foot forward, and that's a little nuance in a brilliant shooter.
Once again, the Lakers eliminated 110-82. Tim Duncan, 37 points and 16 rebounds, Greg Anthony.
The beginning of a new era. No longer can you just have a dominant player. You need a supporting cast.
Michelle Tafoya talked with the MVP afterwards.
How did you come up with that kind of performance?
Knew they were going to come out here with this home crowd and give a great effort. They want to push it to 7. These guys have been to had so much experience the last 3 years. We didn't want to take it to 7 with these guys. We wanted them to finish it tonight.
And
so Michelle Tafoya's comments post-game with Tim Duncan as San Antonio moves on here. Dallas leads Sacramento 17-14. For the 11 Live Legends Tour continues. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar seated next to NBA Commissioner David Stern, who's made his way to most every playoff city. There's Jeff Garcia, the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, sitting next to baseball Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson. Reggie was here for Game 3, that double overtime classic, with Roger Clemens, now sitting with Jeff Garcia. Front row at Arco here tonight.
Now, what I can't understand is why the NBA sat Kareem in those seats. His legs are hitting me in the back.
Spoken like a true big man. Stojakovic tried to go window and almost hit the shot clock instead. Van Exel in the game. And Finley's 3 is good. Well, Michael Finley gives Dallas a 6-point edge. He joins Van Exel, Raja Bell, Rafe LaFrentz, and Dirk Nowitzki.
And you see Sacramento, they're playing those guys with 3-point shots, but Dallas is just stepping a foot or two behind that line.
Nowitzki cleans the boards again. And a common thread this series, transition triple. Turkoglu goes down and gets the board. Turkoglu, Bibby, Christie, Divac, and Stojakovic. Collision, 3 go down, and it's Christie called for the offensive foul.
That was a little too much contact. In a playoff game, you can't put the referees in a position to call that foul. Here it is, Roger Bell pretty much holding his ground. Both guys fly. This is bowling.
That's big, because if it would have been on Raja Bell, it would have been his 3rd. He made such a difference defensively for Dallas in that 3rd quarter of Game 5. So break for the Mavericks there.
We had Raja Bell in San Antonio about 3 or 4 years ago in training camp. I thought he was an absolute beast. He was a guy who put out a lot of energy, big-time defender, and he was the last cut on that team. And I remember telling several coaches, you got to pick this guy up because there's no way that he shouldn't be on our team.
Bobby Jackson in the game for Sacramento. Tough shot for Finley, well defended by Jim Jackson, who's also in the game for the Kings, who have shot cold but are within 6. The 6th man of the year in the NBA. Divac's got LaFrentz in the air. Could not finish. So Vlade struggling to close out, yelling back at Danny Crawford instead of coming back on defense. Finley to Van Exel. He stepped on the sideline. It's been sloppy both ways here. We've had a half dozen turnovers between these two teams, and they are shooting 14 for 43 here in the opening quarter.
I'm waiting for them to get on track. You know, I was a spectator in that 141 game.
Technical foul here on Vlade Divac, so that's a good call by Danny Crawford. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the first time Danny Crawford let Vlade go, and he could have gotten a tee, and then he came back down and kept going and going, and Crawford had no choice but to.
You have to know when to pick your battles, and that's the whole thing. You don't want to take a technical with 1 minute left in the first quarter that's not necessary. You know, save it for when you really need to take it, when you really need to make a statement.
This was back down after he'd complained on the prior trip.
Yeah, see, once you make your point, you know, let it stand. And you know, the players know when the line is, where the line is. They know where to cross and where to really leave those guys alone.
LaFrentz blocks Jim Jackson, gets it back. And missed it. That's going to be a foul on Rafe. The former Kansas star pushing off. Picks up the foul.
One thing I like on that possession there, you see a lot of blue jerseys in the lane when Jim Jackson comes down with the basketball. Dallas trying to make a stand defensively, at least early on.
First foul here in the last 2 minutes. Where will Sacramento find the answer? They're shooting 24% from the field. They missed Chris Webber so much. Here's Christie inside, and Doug gets 2.
That was one of those old Kiki Vandeweghe moves, a little step through, nice footwork. Almost looks like a travel, but you have those 2.5 steps.
Finley shut off nicely by Jim Jackson. And turnover by LaFrance. Stojakovic has no help. 1-on-3, but he goes all the way and gets it to go.
How do you allow that to happen? A 1-on-3 break, and he still manages to get a layup.
Overplay, Stojakovic knocks it away. Christie is fouled by Van Exel.
I mean, usually you can explain a 2-on-1, a 3-on-2 break, but this is Stojakovic against LaFrance. He's got to get back. Somebody's got to get back and stop the ball. I mean, that's the basic fundamental principle of fast break basketball, at least on the defensive end. The most important man on the floor in any situation is the man with the basketball. You got to stop him.
Christie missed the free throw. He had missed only one here in the playoffs. After Chris Webber's injury, Christie has picked up so many minutes and has been so strong. Nearly had a triple-double, a couple of assists shy in Game 4.
He's a tremendous all-around talent. He plays defense, he passes the basketball, he knocks down jumpers. He's a tough, hard-nosed player.
And now he's guarding Van Exel. They saw each other when they were Lakers 10 years ago. They guarded each other in practice, so they know what each other is all about. Van Exel steps back and knocks down 3.
Well, I was about to say, it's difficult for anybody to guard Nick Van Exel in a one-on-one situation. He just has so much range, and he's a wizard with the basketball.
Delay of game warning here on Dallas for just tipping the ball after it came through the basket, trying to slow down Sacramento. Final seconds. Jackson goes right to the cup and pitch to Christie. That's a big hook to beat the buzzer. Sacramento, which started shooting 24% from the field. Good job in its last couple as Christie finished with 8 points and 4 boards in that opening quarter. Sacramento could be in a lot worse shape. Trying to force a Game 7 without their star Webber. They trail by 3 after 1. Sacramento scored 15 in the last 4:40 of that opening quarter to get within 3 of Dallas. And here's David Aldridge.
Last year, Nick Van Exel and Steve Nash did not have a good series against the Sacramento Kings. Nick Van Exel has been thinking about that series for a long time.
We're very confident. It's like, you're playing street ball, and, when you get dominated and then you come right back and try to score. That's how Nash and myself feel right now. We feel we pretty much got dominated last season in the playoffs, and we're just on get back. So, this is our get back right now.
Nick Van Exel says that it doesn't take him very long to get warmed up. He likes to get a good sweat going before tip-off and then sit. See how the teams are defending screen and roll, which is one of his favorite plays. He took a little heat from his teammate Avery Johnson the other night because he didn't come out ready to shoot. Johnson said, a microwave is always ready to shoot. You're just the toaster tonight.
Jimmy Jackson going a little Vinnie Johnson, the man who the name microwave came from. It's a one-point game. There's Avery, who played for the Dallas Mavericks this year, not on the playoff roster, working almost as one of the 13,000 assistant coaches.
Exactly.
This Dallas team has, and Avery could be an NBA head coach as early as next year. Finley misfires. Bobby Jackson the rebound.
Well, that's one thing I like about the Dallas Mavericks, to be honest with you, the fact that they do have Avery Johnson there, and he's been through the wars, and this guy knows what it takes to win.
Jackson inside, and Sacramento takes the lead.
Again, laying the ball up. Where's your help side defense?
Quick silencer from Van Exel. And now you get the sense that the tempo of this game is going to get where we expect it, where we saw it Game 3, that 141-137 double overtime game. Excellent defense by Nash on Bobby Jackson.
Well, both teams are content to let you score, almost like they're saying, hey, take a shot, we want the ball back.
We saw Van Exel hit that quick hoop. I want you to look at Nick during that interview when we talked to him this morning. Look at this. Why is his practice jersey on like that?
You tell me.
Superman's cape. He comes out for practice and shoot around with Superman's cape on. He puts that arm hole over his head and has a drape, and he goes through the whole shoot around like that. He's just, Nick is just a hair different as Stojakovic goes inside. and draws the personal foul.
You know, some players they're superstitious. They wear their clothes a certain way. I remember watching Tim Duncan in practice. You know, he likes to wear his shorts backwards. I just thought that was odd. The first couple times I was like, hey, you know, you got your shorts on backwards. Yeah, he kind of looked at me like I was dumb, you know.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's Nick's trademark socks up to the knee braces. Boy, his personality allows him to miss a bunch of shots but stay right in the game and keep triggering, keep firing. It's one of the reasons he scored 36 and 40 in games 2 and 3. Stojakovic hits both, sack back on top by Wall.
Well, if you're a big-time shooter like Van Exel and you're a big-time scorer, you can't really afford to have a conscience out there on the court. You don't care if you miss 4 or 5 in a row. You got to continue to put the ball up.
Nash had nowhere to go. Nahara didn't present himself on the screen and roll. Jimmy Jackson pitches to Stojakovic. A hop back in the Sacramento step. Stojakovic can't leave him free for 3. Can't knock it down. A rebound for Nash.
Excellent ball movement by the Kings. They had all types of options on that play.
Asia is 2 of 10 from the field. Now defends Nowitzki. Fading away. Write it down.
He's too big and he's too good. He's so talented. At 7 feet tall, the way he's able to manhandle smaller guys in the block. You bring him out on the perimeter, he's going to knock down that jumper. He's going to penetrate past you.
Wet spot on the floor. Stops play.
There's no question that he's the closest thing to Larry Bird I have seen since Larry. He has all the skills. He just has more athletic ability.
We've got to remember, too, he's 24. We kind of fast forward, guys, when we say he's the next so-and-so, he's the next so-and-so. Mark Cuban has a great nucleus here with Steve Nash and Nowitzki. Van Exel at 31 has been a veteran to add. And we're fast-forwarding this Dallas team, expecting them after a 60-win season that they should be better in the playoffs. But Don Nelson, who turned 63 today, has a team here that is trying to take the next step.
Exactly. And yeah, they should be better in the playoffs, but don't expect them to win an NBA championship this year.
Jimmy Jackson misfired. Nowitzki was fighting for position there. It's out of bounds off Finley. And
you know, if you look at history and teams that have won championships, the Mavs may have to go through more disappointments before they finally make it to the promised land. They may not progress next year or the year after. But if you keep this nucleus together, guaranteed they're going to be there.
Jimmy Jackson can't get through. Keon Clark comes in and puts it back. The long arms of Keon Clark, a key free agent acquisition. Van Exel quick with a 3, write it down.
And you see how Nick took 2 dribbles, got into his rhythm, and fired that ball with a ton of confidence.
He is feeling it tonight. Christie goes right back at him. And got it to go to square the games here at 31.
And what a sequence of events. That tip by Keon Clark, he tipped that ball off of his wrist. And then Nick Van Exel comes down and knocks down a 3, 2 or 3 feet behind the 3-point line.
Nahara saves it there. Nash and Nahara pick and roll has not worked twice. Nahara couldn't get it. Christie knocked it away. And here come the Kings looking to take the lead.
Now this tempo is picked up, but both teams are still playing a little sloppy.
Clark trying to show and go on Nahara.
You know, he faked himself out. I mean, he had Nahara beat on like the first fake and made like 5 or 6 more after that.
Trying to hang with your buddies when you're not old enough. Keon, you don't do that. The other guys do. Timeout Sacramento. All square at 31.
Well, Phil Jackson's streak of 25 consecutive series wins are over. The Spurs knock off the Lakers 110-82, and afterwards, the Zen Master put everything into perspective.
A little more defeatist about this loss at another time. I mean, you know, I have to be optimistic about my own personal health and about the direction I'm going, because I feel better about, you know, my direction as a basketball coach and as a leader of this team.
Well, some interesting comments from Phil Jackson, who was involved in his 289th game as a player or a coach tonight. Don Nelson, his 293rd. 2 guys who've been around it and have tasted it. And Don Nelson, as you may have heard, does not have a contract to coach next season. Has a contract with the organization as general manager. They consult him down the line. Mark Cuban, the owner, has said all conversations about Nelly as the head coach will wait till after the season, but he's still under contract. Don and Del Harris have done a very good job of what Mark asked. I was with Mark back in August, and he said one thing we want to do is improve our defensive field goal percentage. Their defense improved during the regular season with some zone defenses that in large part are credited to Del Harris and Nelly just going X's and O's and just learning new basketball over the summer together.
Yeah, but in order for this team to win an NBA championship, they're going to have to really improve their man-to-man defense. They're not going to be able to get away with gimmicky zones and gimmicky defenses. That's not going to take you to the title.
It was that man defense in the third quarter of Game 5 that limited Sacramento to 3 of 25 shooting. After the Nash miss, Christie is fouled. You know, before we leave Phil Jackson and that comment that he had made, we'll show you what happened in Game 5 and quarter number 3. The defensive dominance, 3 of 25 from the field. The starters, only Stojakovic scored. Raja Bell had 4 field goals. Sacramento as a team had 3. But Sean, about Phil Jackson, don't you get the sense that it's such an emotional time? The passing of his teammate and friend Dave DeBusschere, the heart problems from early, all in a short period of time here. It would be hard to imagine Phil Jackson leaving coaching.
Well, that's what it's
on this note.
That's what it sounded like. But you know, after an emotional loss like that, you got to take some time away from the game, really collect your thoughts. You know, put basketball out of your mind for a month or so, and then come back and make a decision. Sleep on it for a month.
33-31, Sacramento by 2. Van Exel's been instant offense. Couldn't get that wild shot to go, and Keon Clark the rebound.
That may look like a wild shot for other players, but for Nick Van Exel, it's par for the course.
Jimmy Jackson triple. Sacramento cannot hit from long distance. Nice rebound by Christie. He has been everywhere again tonight. Clark tries to play Vlade with the nice pass inside to Jimmy Jackson.
Got beautiful passing inside, and I love the way Jim Jackson establishes himself down low. He's so strong, and he powers that ball up.
Nowitzki going in, gets fouled. Well, that was a Vlade Divac-like pass thrown.
Yes, it was.
By Keon Clark. Well, tomorrow night, Mr. Aldridge, Mr. Elliott will red eye to Philadelphia. And we'll join our friend Brett Musburger for Game 6, the Pistons and Sixers. Philly trying to force a Game 7 on Sunday. The Pistons trying to eliminate Iverson and company and take on the Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals. Tomorrow night on ESPN.
I'm just tired thinking about that flight coming up.
Oh, come on. It's the playoffs. Tell me you're not fired up about going.
That's going to be a good game.
It'll be interesting to see if Iverson can get 5 of 25. Iverson's been held in check for the most part in that series.
Oh, Detroit plays defense, and that's been a big key for them. They're a well-coached team. They're a balanced team. My only thing is I just wish Chauncey Billups was healthy, because that'd be the real measure of that ball club. He's had an outstanding year.
Really tries to keep home floor in Game 6. Here, Christie inside, deterred by Nowitzki.
Nowitzki blocked that over his shoulder.
Finley on the run. Oh, he went for the power dunk. It came out to midcourt. 4-on-3. Stojakovic to Jimmy Jackson. To Keon Clark. Blocked by LaFrentz. Missed the putback. Loose ball foul.
And that's exactly what I was asking for. Finley trying to go over the top of Keon Clark. And that's, you know, you can't get a better matchup. First off, excellent block by Dirk Nowitzki, but Finley sizes him up and tries to hammer that on him. Now, if he dunks this over Keon Clark, we're pumping his stomach to get this ball back.
That's what you were calling for, though, from Finley.
But that's what I want. I mean, this is the playoffs. You don't go in there weak. Go in there and make a statement, try to dump the ball on a 7-footer.
After the foul on Keon Clark, Nowitzki to LaFrentz, who was hot early. He's missed his last couple. He has 7 points. Nowitzki leads Dallas in scoring with 9. Christie pacing sack with 12. Bobby Jackson splashes down a 3.
Bobby Jackson is a stud. I said that last year plenty of times. This guy did not get enough consideration for 6-man last year. Finally won it this year. He's been the vital spark plug off the bench for this team.
Nash goes all the way. One of those only Steve Nash can do it layups. Makes it a 3-point game.
Oh, he's a gutsy ball player. He's talented. He works hard. He's got a complete game, and he's fearless.
First field goal for the man from Victoria, British Columbia. Bobby Jackson with another response. Remember, he's doing all this, Jackson, with a broken cheekbone. Small fracture suffered back in game 2 of this series. He has not missed a game. Nash to LaFrentz inside, and now give Rafe 9 points.
I suspect that Bobby Jackson could have a knee replacement and be out on the court a week later. I mean, you look at him, the guy is solidly built. He's in excellent shape. And the guy's a determined, hard-nosed ball player.
Oh, what a take by Jackson, who's taking over here in the second quarter.
Just look at the way he's built. The guy's built like a miniature bodybuilder.
Nash to miss. Turkoglu keeping it alive. But he stepped on the baseline. It will be Dallas ball when we come back. Bobby Jackson's hit the last 3 field goals, Sean, and has shown why he's the 6th man of the year in the NBA this year.
Well, when you watch Bobby Jackson play, this is dedication to playing the game of basketball. You can tell that he's spent a ton of time working on his game. He's been in the weight room all summer long. You cannot have this type of stamina, this type of ability without working on your game. Watch his strength. Just blowing past smaller guys, finishing strong at the bucket.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs, brought to you by NASDAQ, the companies moving the world forward.
The former University of Minnesota product, Bobby Jackson, helping Sacramento, after a cold shooting start, retake the lead, 42-37. All right, so with the Lakers being eliminated by San Antonio, sets the table a little bit for the next couple of days. We'll have Game 6, Detroit-Philly, tomorrow on ESPN, 7:30 Eastern. Then, if necessary, Sacramento and Dallas would play a Game 7, and that tip time would be at 7 o'clock Central Time for Game 7 of that series, and that will be seen on TNT. Here's David Aldridge.
Guys, you mentioned Bobby Jackson's stamina before. When he first came into the league, this was a guy that could not make a 17-footer. But he has worked himself into being the NBA's best 6th man. 90 minutes before the game, where most guys are just kind of messing around, Bobby Jackson goes around the court and will not stop until he makes 10 shots from each of 5 different spots on the floor. He says that gets his legs getting ready to go, and then he's ready to play. Guys,
the timeout didn't stop him, David. The steal and score there. Response from LaFrentz makes it a 5-point game.
And all you have to do is watch Bobby Jackson. Just you watch him alone and watch how much effort he puts into every play. I mean, the guy made a steal, went all the way the length of the floor, then he sprinted back on defense.
Devon's back in the game here, Sean, working on Nowitzki.
That's that old man's game right there. You know the moves are coming, but you just can't stop them.
I'm going to go tell him you're saying this, by the way. Van Exel posting on Bibby. So Van Exel and Nash, when they're on the floor together, this is a tough tandem.
Absolutely, because they both can score, and Van Exel can score because he can take the ball down low.
Jackson rimmed down at 2. Will Jimmy Jackson get there? Yes, he will.
And he just out-hustled the Mavericks for that rebound.
Bobby Jackson, Mike Bibby, Jimmy Jackson, Pino Turkoglu, and Vlade. Devon sizing up LaFrentz. Flopped by Rafe. He's called for the foul. We're going to see Sean Bradley here to try to counter Devon's presence for the balance of this half. LaFrentz picked up a second personal, but a solid 11-point effort. LaFrentz and Bradley were sent to the end of the bench, essentially, in games 2 and 3 when Nelly went small. But in watching the film, after game 2, Don felt there were places where those guys could be effective, and they certainly have been so far. LaFrentz 4 blocks here tonight.
No question. Bradley's been effective pretty much all year long. He's had some ups and downs, but when you have a guy with that type of size who can block shots, occasionally rebound the basketball for you, and then occasionally step outside, knock down shots, you gotta find time for him.
He had 2 points in the first game, did Bradley. Didn't score in game 2. Game 3, that 141-137 double overtime game, he came in for the tip to start the second overtime and tipped it right to Sacramento. Went back to the bench, not to be seen again. Jackson. Shot clock violation. I thought Don Nelson had a great line. You know, Nelly's been around forever. He's got so many great lines. He said about Sean Bradley, I've lit so many fires, I'm out of matches. This is Game 6. Dallas is trying to join San Antonio to make it an all-Texas Western Conference Final. That's only happened once before in '95 when Houston and San Antonio met for the Western slot in the NBA Finals. LaFrentz has been big. Christie has a dozen, continuing his hot play in the absence of Chris Webber, out with a knee injury. Van Exel continues his great play off the bench as well. A dozen for Nick, including 2 3-pointers. Sacramento was very cold early. They've come back to take a 3-point lead.
Van Exel came off a pick and roll at the top of the key and laid the ball up on the right side.
That is out off Nash. Sacramento ball after this timeout. Well, Don Nelson has said that a guy he used to coach, Chris Webber, had an MVP-type season. Nick Van Exel is trying to step it up in the absence of Webber to try to make it a Dallas series.
Welcome inside Playoff Central, just moments away from the AT&T halftime report. We'll hear from Ben Wallace. We have a conversation with the Defensive Player of the Year, and we'll also have more reaction from Los Angeles as the 3-time defending champions of the throne. Should be good stuff, huh, Greg?
Yeah, there'll be some good stuff at halftime, man.
Yeah? You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am, man.
And I will call you Greg Anthony. Let's go back out to Mike Tirico and Sean Elliott.
All right, Kevin and Greg, here Sacramento trailed early. They've come back to take a 3-point lead. The Dallas Huddles with Don Nelson and assistant Del Harris.
You had 3 dribbles, Eddie. 3 dribbles. You didn't make a move.
We got to dig in defensively now. They got the same number of points this quarter they had the entire quarter last time. Let's get them stopped. Everybody talk, get down and play. Active hands and feet.
Del Harris pushing nothing but defense, former coach of the Lakers, Milwaukee, and Houston. It's kind of an unenviable role, title of defensive coordinator with a great offensive team. It's like in football, being the defensive coordinator of a run-and-shoot team or being the pitching coach on the 27 Yankees. You know, nobody notices your job unless you come up big every once in a while, and he's always impressing defense on these guys.
Well, they will notice it in the win column if you improve your defense a notch or two, and that's exactly what Del Harris is saying. Active hands and feet. You got to continue to move your feet, keep those arms up, keep your hands active. Deflections are important. I mean, it's the little things on the defensive end that are going to win you ball games.
And the little wrinkle there, show a little zone, maybe cross them up a little bit and force turnovers. As Dirk Nowitzki looks to get going offensively, 9 points, 3 of 6 from the field. He's played virtually the entire way for Dallas here in the first half. Another turnover by the Mavs. Bobby Jackson going 120 miles an hour. Sean Bradley goes long arm to pull it down.
Well, that last time down the floor, Steve Nash tried to make a bounce pass to a 7'5" or 6" Sean Bradley. How's he going to get down for that ball?
Van Exel, another 3. I mean, Bibby was right in his mug, too.
Van Exel does that to a lot of people, and he just might give you a look as he goes by. Nick Van Exel's been through it before.
6 of 7 from the field. He has 15 points. Devon's in the high post. Dumped down to Jimmy Jackson. Over to Bobby Jackson for 3. Stojakovic waiting to come in as 2 of 10 shooting in this game. Bobby Jackson's bailed Sacramento out with a dozen here in the first half.
You know you got to be in some type of condition to even step on this floor.
For Van Exel and Bobby Jackson doing. Van Exel around everybody and got it to go again. 7 of 8.
And Van Exel used Bobby Jackson's own man against him. And they're talking to each other right now. Van Exel saying, you can't guard me, Bobby Jackson. He's going to step up to the challenge.
Bibby watched by Nash. Comes down the lane with Bradley there. But Sean Bradley never used his 7'6". His arms stayed at his sides.
Absolutely. You're not going to block a shot with your head.
Well, he might.
You're right. He just might.
The foul is called. Van Exel and Bobby Jackson slap hands as their word exchange that you picked up on earlier started on the last couple of tricks.
Well, both guys fierce competitors. This is Nick Van Exel shaking up Mike Bibby on the perimeter, dropping down the jumper, and he glares at him all the way down the floor. Now watch Van Exel go around Bloody Devon, and he uses Devon against Bobby Jackson. Bobby Jackson has the athletic ability and the foot speed to stay with Nick Van Exel on the open floor. But if you have to go around a lumbering big man, it's an altogether different story.
Nick Van Exel is on his way to one of the great series by a reserve in NBA playoff history, just in terms of points. Nowitzki was fouled. Let's see, foul, yes, by Stojakovic. Bob Delaney calls Peja for the hold. They're going to change it to Jim Jackson. Holding before Peja got there defensively for Rick Adelman's team.
The fans unhappy with the call.
What call are they happy with?
Never happy with any calls, you're right.
One more for Nowitzki, guy who Christie gets some work. Nowitzki, the leader in the regular season for the Big Four. And they've now scored 37 of the 50 for Dallas tonight as you add that Nowitzki free throw, and Dirk has 11. The big non-Big Four contribution coming from LaFrentz with 11. Jimmy Jackson trying to attack the rim, and Dirk says, I got him.
And you see, that's where defense helps out with the Mavericks. Jim Jackson was wide open. He made a terrific cut along the baseline. He was wide open, but there was a deflection that kept him from getting the basketball. If you don't have your hands up, Jim Jackson gets an easy two instead of going to the free throw line, having to earn them. Now you watch this possession. There it is. Stojakovic is the one. It's a deflection by Nowitzki because he has his hands up. Jim Jackson comes down with the loose ball, but Stojakovic had 2 easy points. And it's just the subtle things. It's the small things in the game that win you big-time ball games.
53-50. Sacramento's had a double-digit lead in every game in this series. Their biggest lead in this half, 7. Dallas's biggest lead, 9. That came in the first quarter. Michael Finley works on Bobby Jackson. Powerful legs. With that hamstring injury, he couldn't use what is his strength, those strong, powerful calves and thighs.
And I like the way he backed down the defender that time. He had a fadeaway early in the game where he really was fading away on a smaller guy.
Mike Bibby comes down the lane to get his second field goal. Just 4 points, no assist for Bibby, who vowed to be aggressive, but has been neutralized. Fans get on the officials and get on their feet to urge on the Sacramento D as Van Exel touches the ball and now gets booed.
They're booing him because he's been talking trash. But he's dropping people off.
Nash dribbled it off his foot. It's a shot clock violation. Shot clock violation. Sacramento ball.
That's an awfully tough task there, trying to beat both Bobby Jackson and Mike Bibby. I don't know if there's a guard in this league that can get that accomplished.
10 Dallas turnovers. They added 9/10 of a second back to the clock, 3.7, and bring a defensive specialist in Raja Bell. Adelman has a 20 that he can't take to the second half, so he will take it here. Well, 55-52. Sean, good chance for your thoughts on what we saw here in the first half. And a must-win for Sacramento.
Nice up-and-down game. I love the way that Sacramento came back in this ball game. They were down early on. They played sloppy basketball early on, but they really regrouped. They got that ball moving again. And again, you have to consider that Chris Webber is not on the floor, and that's a gigantic hole that they're playing with.
It's almost like you can't say it enough, because as Nelly said when we were on the pregame on ABC during halftime, he joined us live, Chris Webber is the most valuable player on one of the best teams, what Nelly thought was the best team in the NBA this year.
No question about it. Come January, February, this team was on a roll. They were demolishing people. They went up to New Jersey, destroyed them, came back home, played well against Dallas at home. At that point, when they were healthy, I thought this was a 65-win team. And you got to consider they had Bibby out for points, Bobby Jackson out for points. Imagine this team healthy all year long. They're the #1 seed.
Long pass to Jimmy Jackson, doubled up high, goes all the way, and beat the clock, and goes right to the locker room. There are still 2:10 left, but that's okay. They can't score. They'd have to tip it in here. And it's halftime. That doesn't count. You cannot catch and shoot inside of .3 in the first half. Well, Dallas's Big Four coming up with 39 points. Add LaFrentz's 11, and they scored 50 of the Mavs' 52. But still, Sacramento got big contributions in the second quarter from Bobby and Jimmy Jackson. They combined for 22 in that quarter. And here's Bobby Jackson with David Aldridge.
Bobby, what were you and Nick talking about?
Just going at each other, man. That's all it is. We're very competitive, and we know how both we play. That's how our team gonna play. And so we both came out with a lot of energy, and hopefully I can contain them in the second half.
Do you like the tempo? Is this more according to your tempo?
Oh, we're gonna run every chance we get. We're gonna run every time we get a chance. But when we can't score, we're gonna have to slow it down and pound it inside the body, and then take our chance from there.
In Game 5, you had a terrible third quarter as a team. How do you avoid that tonight?
Come out, attack the basket, make them play defense, and look for the open man.
Bobby, thanks very much. Good luck second half. Back to you.
David, thanks. Bobby Jackson helped pace Sacramento to a 36-point second quarter. Kevin Frazier, Greg Anthony, the AT&T Halftime Report. A conversation with Big Ben. Ben Wallace of the Detroit Pistons trying to eliminate Philadelphia at the First Union Center tomorrow night. Bobby Jackson in that first half with 12 points, a couple of threes. The NBA's 6th man of the year, only the 2nd guard in the history of the league to win that award, is trying to say Game 6 belongs to the 6th man. Sacramento trying to force a Game 7 in Dallas, leads by 5 at halftime.
Welcome to the AT&T Halftime Report.
57-52, Dallas trailing Sacramento at the half. Kevin Frazier, Greg Anthony inside Playoff Central. And Greg, Bobby Jackson just moments ago echoing the words that you've been saying all night long, attack the rack.
Yeah, and it's so obvious that when the Sacramento Kings dominate the paint, when they get the ball inside, not just by posting it, but by penetration, that's when they control tempo, that's when they control this game. You're not going to get into a jump shooting contest with the Dallas Mavericks. And let's face it, had it not been for Nick Van Exel, I don't know if Dallas would have won a game in this series.
17 points for Nick in the first half to lead the way for the Mavs. Meanwhile, the big story of the night, the 3-time defending champion Los Angeles Lakers eliminated. Gone till November. They're out. Taking on the Spurs, Game 6 in the Staples Center. Jack and everyone else in the house. I think there was a sense that L.A. would win this game. Kobe inside to Shaquille O'Neal, the daddy leading the way with 31 points, but the story was Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan came out, set the tone early for the San Antonio Spurs, and he got everybody else going. I think once they saw his focus and his determination to win this game, everybody else felt like they could come out and beat L.A. in L.A.
He was 16 of 25 from the floor, 37 points for Tim Duncan, 16 rebounds, and the San Antonio Spurs, they will continue their postseason party. Kevin Willis, old but tasty, he gets a piece of the lovin'. Spurs knock off the Lakers by 28 points. And you can see D-Fish, just like Kobe, very emotional after the game.
Well, I just hate losing. It's a tough loss. They played extremely well. We just have to get ready for the offseason. Next season for us starts right now.
We've been put down by these guys last couple of years. So that in itself was big for this team, for me. Not ending another season to them. And more than ending their reign, honestly, that felt a lot better than not finishing our season here and not seeing them go on and us go home.
This year we couldn't do that. We couldn't make the correct steps. We stumbled, we fell, we had inconsistencies. We lacked some discipline as a basketball club, and we paid the price for it. And some of the things are maladies that fell us due to injuries, due to operations, due to some of the things that happen as a team gets older, a little bit long in the tooth, and sometimes has to play through 3 championship years, but that was our pleasure.
Interesting comments by Phil Jackson because, as you said, maybe it's time for a change because the Lakers just didn't have the horses.
They don't. I think the biggest thing that they have to work on in the offseason for me is they're going to have to get a guy who can guard, who can defend the 4 position. That is really the premier position in that Western Conference when you think about all the great players at that position. And right now, Robert Horry just doesn't have enough physically to be able to stop guys because Phil Jackson doesn't want a double team. And if you don't want a double team, you got to have somebody who can guard these guys man to man. And right now, they don't have that.
All right, tonight was the 2nd worst home playoff loss in Lakers history. Now, the worst playoff loss in their history?
That's to my beloved Blazers.
You were on the floor, weren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just see how I hooked you up. I set you up.
You're right. I'm going to have to call Paul Allen, too. I may be interested in that GM job.
Nick Van Exel rolling. We'll talk to Ben Wallace in just a moment.
This halftime report is presented by the world's networking company, AT&T. Welcome back to the AT&T Halftime Report.
We look ahead towards tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern. It's the Pistons and Sixers. Pistons trying to eliminate Philadelphia. And speaking of Detroit, earlier Greg Anthony and I spoke with their main man, Ben Wallace. We're joined now by Ben Wallace. Ben, first of all, thanks for taking the time out to hang out with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Ben, got to ask you right off the bat about this series, and the Sixers have done such a great job of crashing the glass. What is it that they are doing that's making it so tough for you?
Well, they sent in 2 and 3 guys after me, you know, to try to hold me off the glass. And then when you got a guy like Iverson who penetrates the defense, and, you know, you have to step up to him because you got to honor him because he's such a great scorer. You have to honor him, and it allows guys to sneak in behind you and take your position.
Hey, let me ask you, congrats on a big win in Game 5 for you guys. Obviously, that was huge. But to me, for you guys to win this series, I think Chauncey Billups has to play and play effectively, whether it be Game 6 or if there is a Game 7. What's your mindset? Do you think you guys have to have him in the lineup to win this series?
It would be nice to have him in the lineup. But, you know, I think, you know, if we just go out and play solid, make things happen on the defensive end, not to try to become a scoring team, you know, be a defensive team first and get stops like we usually do, that we could buy Chauncey a little more time where he can, you know, heal his ankle back to where he can actually go out there and help us. You know, I think right now he's not feeling well. You know, now when he step on the floor, he might hurt us more than he can help us right now.
No, that's a great point because he has not played well when injured the times he has gone out, whether it be the Orlando or in this series. Also, talk about the fact how well your bench is playing in this series. You know, you're getting a huge contribution from Tayshaun Prince, and a lot of other guys are stepping up. John Barry played well. Those guys, do you think, have to continue to play at that high level for you guys to be successful?
Yeah, I think the key to, you know, our whole season has been our bench, you know, who's been coming in playing well for us, you know, been getting the job done, you know, been coming in, outscoring other teams' benches. And, you know, I guess we had the luxury of having Tayshaun Prince, you know, who sat on the bench for the whole season, who really hadn't seen a lot of action. But when his number was called, you know, he stepped up and did big things for us. And he continued to carry us and continued to bail us out of tough situations.
We have both of the bobbleheads in front of us. We have the cornrows and the afro. Now, which one do you prefer? I know you're sporting the cornrows right now, but which bobblehead do you like to go with, the afro or the cornrows?
Well, I like them both, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick the afro. You know,
yeah,
sometimes you just got to let your hair down and go to work.
Well, I hear you. Well, I know the afro fans in Detroit will be rooting for you in Game 6 as you guys try to eliminate the Philadelphia 76ers. Good luck, and thanks for taking the time to hang with us, Ben.
All right, thanks for having me.
Now, what the Dallas Mavericks need is a guy like Ben Wallace. They trail in the points in the paint 34-16 because guys like Doug Christie get into the rack 57-52.
This halftime report is presented by the world's networking company, AT&T.
Back at Arco Arena, set for the second half. What these fans hope is not the final half of the 2003 season for a 59-win Sacramento team. They lead 5-5 at the break. After opening 3 of 17, Sean Elliott, Sacramento comes back to shoot 43% from the field, still allowing Dallas to shoot very well, 50% from the field. Huge advantage off the bench and paint points for Sacramento. Doug Christie had a dozen. But what a matchup we're seeing of 6 men with Bobby Jackson and Nick Van Exel going head-to-head.
Yeah, these guys are like 2 heavyweight boxers just throwing haymakers at each other. Bobby Jackson with the outside first. Nick Van Exel shaking him up. Bobby Jackson again along the baseline. Nick Van Exel with that superior range. And watch the strength of Bobby Jackson. Able to finish near the bucket. Nick Van Exel using Bobby Jackson's own teammate against him along the baseline.
And when it got too intense, referee Danny Crawford helped step in. Down.
And you know what, fellas? Both of you kind of ease up. Okay, all right, okay. All right, I like that. 24. Okay.
They have both pushed each other to the edge with their intensity, but it's brought the best out in both of them. It's typical of the adage that it's not who starts the game, it's who finishes. They won't start the third quarter on the floor, but if it's close, the end of 4, they'll be on the floor. Here's David Aldridge.
Guys, the one thing that came up in the Dallas locker room, penetration. Everybody got layups for the Sacramento Kings in the first half. One of the assistant coaches said Bobby Jackson was the only one doing any shooting. The rest of them went straight to the basket. Del Harris, the assistant coach, said this is a mano thing. We just got to get in front of them and stop them, guys.
El Turkaloo and to the layup and dunk column. They had done so well in the last 3 games that Don Nelson says, guys, we emphasize it in the locker room, and the first hoop is a dunk.
Yeah, and you see, and that really epitomizes the way the Mavericks need to step up their defense. Right out of the locker room, the guy gets a dunk.
Raja Bell finds Rafe LaFrentz inside. LaFrentz, 13 points, leading all Dallas starters in scoring.
And when you talk about points in the paint, the reason the Kings have dominated is because they are penetrating the basketball, and the Mavericks are settling for outside jumpers.
Stojakovic finally gets going. Peja was just 2 of 10 from the field. Now knocks that one down to put Sacramento back on top by 7. The same 10 players that started the game on the floor to start the third quarter. Nash tries to get going as well. He was just 1 of 6 in the first half.
You need that big man to step up and help out on those little picks at the top of the key. Especially when it's Steve Nash. You can't sit back and wait for him to make a pass.
That time, as he was anticipating Bibby coming up to the top of the key, Mike went baseline. Nash had to foul him, his first.
Well, watch his offensive possession. Michael Finley's outside the lane. These 2 guys here on the backside, they've got to zone it up. They must be aware of what's happening on the strong side.
Divac let all the traffic clear. Nowitzki comes to double, but over LaFrentz. Vlade Divac connects for his 5th field goal. He has 10.
You know, with Vlade, you know the move's coming again, but you cannot stop it.
LaFrentz at 3, wide right. Rebounded by Finley. Rafe looking for the assist on that.
He just picked the wrong club out of his bag.
Nice. Van Exel quickly up to the scorer's table, 2 minutes in to this third quarter. Stojakovic hit the last one. Now goes to the cup. But Nowitzki did a nice job defensively. And it's taken away.
Even Nowitzki waits till Stojakovic gets all the way to the bucket to challenge him. You got to step up and stop guys before they even get into the paint.
Nowitzki now tries to back to the basket, Turkoglu. The double comes. Finley free for 3. The ability of Dirk Nowitzki to draw defense and kick it out gets Dallas within 2.
And Finley's not going to miss too many of those. It's too good.
So Vlade tries to post on LaFrentz to start the Sacramento offense. Stojakovic lost it out of bounds.
Right? Even again, where Vlade catches the basketball, to play defense in the playoffs, you got to take guys out of their comfort zone. You can't just allow a big man to walk all the way and set himself on the block. Look where he catches the ball. That's not playoff type defense. You got to force that guy 3 or 4 feet off the block, because he still ends up getting a little 3 or 4 foot jump hook in the lane.
That is the question with this Dallas team. They can score with anybody in the NBA. Are they tough enough in half-court defense to shut people down? Because stops keep you going in the playoffs. Christie is fouled by Van Exel.
You know, it's easy to forget about your defense when you're so potent on the offensive end. When you know you can outscore and outrun anybody, you tend to get lax on the defensive end, but that's what's going to carry you, especially with this powerful offense. Just got to pick up your defense. You don't have to have championship caliber defense. Just got to pick it up a little bit.
LaFrentz came over to help defensively, and Rafe has picked up his 3rd personal foul. Well, who will get the #1 pick? We'll see you next Thursday night at 8 Eastern on ABC for the NBA Draft Lottery Show. See who will get the chance to make the #1 selection in the 2003 NBA Draft. We'll have that on ESPN coming up the last Thursday in June. Exciting time. This time next week, we'll know who will own picks 1, 2, and 3, and all the way down to 13. Sean Bradley comes in as LaFrentz sits with his 3.
And all the LeBron James talk is going to start next Thursday. Don't forget about Carmelo Anthony, kind of year he had, and Darko Milicic, the Yugoslavian that's playing overseas right now. He's going to be a terrific ball player.
I don't know if you know Carmelo Anthony went to Syracuse. Did you know that, Sean?
Yes, I did. Okay. Where did you go to school?
I don't remember right now. I just wanted to point out where Carmelo went. Finley from Wisconsin uses the window to make it a 2-point game.
See how Michael Finley is able to stay in the air and move around the defender, move the ball around the defender.
Vivian Vlade working well, and Divac will have a chance for a 3-point play. Mike Bibby did not have a good first half. He's been a little more effective here in the second half thus far.
Yes, he has, but with all the talk about playing defense, you just give layups. Coming out of the locker room there, beautiful pass by Mike Bibby along the ground to Vlade Divac, but again, you're giving up layups and dunks right out of the locker room.
Sacramento already has more field goals in this third quarter than they had in the third quarter of Game 5 when they had just 3. 4 field goals since the break. They remain up 5. Van Exel free at the line.
It's almost a joke. I mean, when you see these guys wide open on the perimeter, they never miss.
8 of 9 from the field. He's hit all 4 of his threes. Van Exel has been fabulous again.
He's in a big-time rhythm right now.
Divac around Sean Bradley.
And there's no help whatsoever when Vlade Divac puts that ball on the floor and goes to the bucket. All he has to do is be one man, and that's it.
Finley out high, out to Nash. Nowitzki, who loves to work from this right side, hits the hoop.
And you know what makes that play so dangerous? As soon as that pass is coming to him, he runs toward the pass. By the time he catches it, he's already past the defender.
Turkoglu turned down a shot. Bibby took one. Misfired rebound by Bradley. You know what's missing for Dallas right now? One of those grit guys, Raja Bell, Eduardo Nahara, LaFrance, that made the third quarter difference. It's the big 4 and Sean Bradley. Nowitzki looking for the foul, not called.
That's what's going to take this team over the top in the future. They're going to need a hard-working guy who's just going to rebound, play defense.
Turkoglu splashes down a 3. Sacramento up 5.
You can take several players off of each team, and they're not going to miss a beat. There's so many weapons the Mavs and the Kings possess.
Foul on Turkoglu, his second.
I mean, Turkoglu essentially doesn't play all year long because of the presence of Jim Jackson, and here he is stepping up big in a playoff game. He steps behind that line. This guy 6'10", running the floor, catches the ball, steps behind the line, and drains the 3. And he makes it look easy. It's an extremely difficult shot.
Turkoglu, who's from Turkey, told me that everybody's staying up back in his home. Istanbul, his hometown. Foul here on Bibby. They stay up till about 5 in the morning to watch the games. They said it's a little easier to watch Mehmet Okur of the Detroit Pistons, their rookie. He's from Turkey as well.
Another fine player, too. Another outstanding basketball player.
Big guy at 7 foot. It took 118 three-point attempts in this season. But he said because of the Eastern time zone with Detroit, it's a lot easier for the people back home in Turkey to watch Okur's games than it is to stay up for the late games. Van Exel finally missed a 3. Bradley with the rebound. Nick, deep triple. Oh, he's missed 2 now.
He's too anxious to shoot that ball. He's waiting for that ball for 5 seconds.
4 on 2. Christie. Stojakovic. Dallas has to be careful. Finley the other way. Tough shot. Good shot.
See, and you know, the Mavs don't even care. I mean, the transition defense wasn't even textbook. They don't care if you come down and get a layup and you score on them. They just want the ball back. Just give it back to us so we can give it to Michael Finley or Dirk Nowitzki, and they can do their magic.
Asia, a 3. Shot is not there. I wonder if his legs have ever fully rebounded from the double overtime Game 3. 4 of 14 shooting tonight. Poor Sean Bradley. Okay, I guess I'm going for the offensive board here, guys. I understand.
This is like a pickup game. You just let the guards work.
And Van Exel has been going to work all night. After missing the 2 threes, Nick connects, now has 22 to lead all scorers here in Game 6. Dallas trying to eliminate Sacramento and see San Antonio in the Western Finals.
Holy mackerel. When Nick Van Exel gets hot, it's almost impossible to guard him. That was a brilliant one-on-one play last time down the floor. He had to float in the air around arms and knock that shot down. He had to show a lot of touch, an extremely high level of skill. Nick Van Exel working off that screen. Watch him shake up Pedro Stojakovic. A wizard with the basketball. He's not even looking at the ball. This is an excellent ball handler. Able to keep his eyes on the rim at all times. beautiful body control, and that is not an easy bucket.
He has 22 tonight. He scored 141 points in 6 games, trying to get Dallas to the Western Finals.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs, brought to you by Miller Lite. Tell it over a great-tasting, less-filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And Cadillac. Bold vehicles defying convention.
At Arco Arena with David Aldridge and Sean Elliott. This is Mike Tirico. Sacramento leading by 3, trying to force a Game 7 Saturday night at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. Let's check the Cadillac game track. Here from Game 6, the Mavs shooting 55%, Sacramento 56. Sacramento has gotten a lot more layups and dunks, dominating the paint points. Vlade Divac in foul trouble in Game 5 has been a factor here in Game 6.
Yeah, because Sacramento's been attacking the bucket. There's no blue jerseys in the paint. You see Bobby Jackson taking it now. Jim Jackson's starting to get a layup. Watch Doug Christie here. No outside defense. Turkoglu gets an easy dunk. Then Vlade Divac, three-point play right down the lane. In order for the Dallas Mavericks to win this series, again, they need to stop the easy buckets. You just can't continue to give a team like the Sacramento Kings layups and dunks. Because not only is it 2 points, but it also helps the rhythm on the perimeter. If you're a guy who's struggling shooting the basketball, there's no better thing than to get a layup or a dunk to get you started.
These two teams have combined, Sean, for 20 of 21 from the free throw line here in Game 6. Nowitzki, Bradley, Finley, Van Exel, and Nash, the 5 for Dallas, the big 4, and the big man. Finley works Stojakovic. Here's Bradley flashing. Divac's up under his arms. But Sean still shoots. Turkoglu went up to get it. Now fought Finley for the ball. Bibby on the push. Stojakovic attacking the cup. Nice reverse by Peja. Where's the old Eastern Conference? You cannot make a layup. I'm going to knock you on your butt.
You tell me, because when Stojakovic laid that ball up, there were 3 Kings that hadn't even crossed half court.
Is fouled by Stojakovic.
Stojakovic took that ball between 4 or 5 Dallas Mavericks. Look at all the guys in blue jerseys that are back. There's 1, 2. Finley's late in that picture, but that's right between your 2 big men. And you have 3 of the Sacramento Kings players hadn't even crossed half court. That was basically 1-on-4.
It's the second time we've seen that tonight. Remember the 1-on-3 layup made by Stojakovic in the first half.
We just had it in that last package. I mean, Stojakovic might be better taking it 1-on-3 or 1-on-4 than shooting it from the perimeter.
Nash, 1 of 2. That is the first Mavericks miss of the night at the line. They're 8 of 9. Kings by 6 as we approach the 4-minute mark of the third. Vlade tried to dump it down to Christie. It was knocked away, but 8 to shoot. The French back in. Divac goes right at it. Nowitzki leans the ball.
That was still a 3-foot jump hook.
Van Exel, a soft teeter-topping left-hander from Nick.
That's straight out of the playgrounds right there, that move.
That guy is straight out of the playground. Street ball, baby.
That's not a move that you practice with the cones out there. That's not a fundamental basketball move. That's straight playground.
Bibby had his shot blocked by Finley. Finley calls for it on the secondary break, but Nash takes it and makes it a 2-point game. Now Sack needs to make some stops on the defensive end.
Dallas is knocking down their outside shot here.
Christie on Van Exel. A pushing foul is called on Nick. One of the problems, Sean, that Sacramento had in Game 5, as Van Exel picks up his third, they got sucked into Dallas's game. And you can start to hoist with Dallas. And the problem Rick Adelman's team has, usually when Weber's out there, you go to Chris, and it kind of slows them down a little bit. We think of Sacramento as racehorse, but they're a good half-court team when Chris is out there.
Well, they can get out and run with the best of them. if not the best running team in this league. But a big part of that is Chris Webber. He's a power forward who gets up and down the floor, rebounds the ball. He can also run the break. He's there to clean up offensive rebounds. I mean, you have him out there on the floor, your whole running game, you add a new dimension.
Great attack by Nowitzki, who draws the foul on Divac. And some of the Sacramento fans are cheering exactly what the Dallas fans would need to see.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but did Dirk Nowitzki at 7 feet tall just cross somebody up?
Pito Turkoglu, as a matter of fact, to name the license plate.
Is that a 7-foot crossover dribble? I mean, Allen Iverson, he's not, but it's not bad. That might be the first crossover by a 7-footer I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. And it's nice, too. He just sucks them in. Turkoglu trying to cheat over that high pick and roll. And even that, a 7-footer with the basketball running the pick and roll. The game is changing before our very eyes.
He works at it every year, goes back to Germany, adds a different part of his game, works with his longtime coach back in Germany to add another piece, work hard on his rebounding. Defense is next on that hit list. Divac with a response. Said, I got a 7-foot crossover from you. I'll give you a 7-1 reverse.
There's that jump in his game.
8 of 13 out of the jump yard here. LaFrentz couldn't catch. Nowitzki cleans up. Well, they're getting great minutes out of Divac here tonight, giving him all he has with a bad elbow and bum wheels. Christie to the cup for 2. The layup and dunk number is obscene tonight after Dallas had it under control in the first 5 games.
It really is. The Kings are taking it 1-on-3, 1-on-4, and they're kicking sand in the Mavs' face when they penetrate.
Van Exel backs it up, 8 to shoot. LaFrentz. Long board to Nash. He finds so many long boards. Van Exel in rhythm. Missed the 3.
He rushed out the shot. He was happy to finally have an open look.
2 minutes of the fast-moving third quarter. They're trying to take Van Exel down there, draw more fouls. No whistle. Now he gets it as Christie draws it on LaFrentz. And that is 4 on Rafe.
You know, the fans are going crazy. That's the first hard foul I've seen all night long.
That's right. Boy, Vlade Divac, who was in foul trouble, couldn't get a go with the elbow. Giving them big minutes tonight, while the big minutes have led to big interior points in the paint for the Sacramento Kings. They are dominating 50-26 on paint points over Dallas here tonight. They're doing it without Chris Webber in Game 6. Trying to force a 7th game without their star. It's the Kings +6.
Is this team going to be back? Is this team going to win another championship?
Do you really want me to answer that question? You know what I'm thinking. I'm ready to get started right now. You know, I don't like this feeling. I hate this feeling. I really do. I hate it. I don't ever want to feel it again.
You know, the Lakers are one of 5 teams to win at least 3 consecutive NBA championships, but only the Celtics have won 4 straight.
And may not ever have another one that will win 4 straight.
That's a great point. Michael?
Strong night in the NBA, guys. With that Laker run, it was almost as if you anticipated something to happen when Horry took that shot in Game 5. But they got to the clip so many times this year, and finally they couldn't handle it. Credit San Antonio, who moves on. The winner of this series will take on San Antonio, and Vlade Divac, Sean, is trying to give Sacramento a Game 7 where, as we know, anything can happen.
He's really played excellent basketball tonight, taking the ball to the bucket, distributing the ball, and you see those numbers there, and it really highlights how vital it is for Vlade Divac to stay on the floor, particularly when you're missing Chris Webber. Here he is, working down low, that little jump hook. Does a nice job of keeping that ball away from the shot blockers, and he takes 3 guys to the bucket. Vlade just showing them everything. Here he is, a little up and under, muscling his way to the bucket.
Vlade has just gone to the bench as out of the timeout, Don Nelson brought in a smaller lineup with Walt Williams. So Adelman will use this opportunity to go smaller, bring in Jim Jackson. Terrific field goal shooting both sides, or poor defense here in this third. Finley is fouled as he went up for the shot.
Well, I don't agree with that call there. Jim Jackson did an exceptional job of moving his feet and holding his ground. And I thought going one-on-one against Jim Jackson, I don't know if that's such a huge advantage for Michael Finley, because Jim Jackson can move his feet and he's strong. He's much stronger than Michael Finley, and he's wide. It's extremely difficult to get around a guy like that.
Both teams in the bonus, final 100 seconds. Both starting point guards, Bibby Sacramento, Nash Dallas, on their respective benches. 1 of 2 for Finley at the line, who has struggled with his free throws in this series. The guy who shoots 86% on the year is in the 50s in these 5 games.
That's surprising.
Christie, they've been going to this a lot in this third quarter. On Van Exel. He got the rebound and got fouled. All hustle there from Doug Christie. Van Exel.
And you want to take Nick Van Exel out of the ball game, this is how you do it. You make him work. Don't tell me this isn't going to drain his legs when he has to take on a bigger, stronger offensive player in the block area, and he's forced to work down there. Most guards are unaccustomed to playing post defense. They're used to moving their feet on the perimeter. They're not built for really having to use their weight and keeping guys out of the lane.
Doug Christie makes the free throws. He has 20, leading all scorers for the Kings. 7 rebounds, 4 assists as well. Look for a defensive switch next time down, with Raja Bell perhaps picking up Christie. Hands on their feet in Arco. We're only in the third quarter. Finley, nice cross on Christie. Van Exel left 3. Knocks down 3.
As soon as he caught that ball, you could tell it was good, because he had his feet set. He was ready to shoot that ball. He didn't have to rush his shot. It was a nice rhythm jumper. He's going to hit 9 out of 10 of those.
There's the switch. He has Bobby Jackson. Jim Jackson misfired. It did not go over the top. It hit the top, which is in play. And Dallas has a chance to go 2 for 1. Who better to have it when you're thinking 2 for 1?
Exactly. He's going to get you 2 nice ones for sure.
Nowitzki took Stojakovic into the lane.
Nowitzki's just a special player. They can score from anywhere on the floor.
7 in this quarter, 17 in the game. The lead is 4.
You know, most guys might have a sweet spot. I mean, I used to love the baseline jumper. Dirk Nowitzki, the entire half-court area is his sweet spot.
Did you ever hit any big baseline jumpers?
1 or 2. Here's Dirk. Nice little outside fake. That old Michael Jordan. Fake to the left, turn around right.
7 to shoot. Turkoglu dumps it back to Christie. Walt Williams got a piece. Fans said he got more body. They say play on. Last shot here for Dallas. Nick Van Exel says get out of the way. There's no chance for any of you taking the shot but me. He takes it. He makes it. He's been nothing short of remarkable in this series. Jackson with a flame to end the third quarter. Dallas on a 7-0 run to end the third. Nick Van Exel has 29 points. He has already scored 36 and 40 in this series. The former Laker, in his 10th year out of Cincinnati, is trying to take the Dallas Mavericks to a place they've only been once before, the Western Conference Finals. It's been 15 years, but they can taste it. Off we go to the fourth. Sacramento by 2. Well, will the fat lady sing tonight for Dallas and send the Mavs and Mark Cuban, their owner, to the Western Conference Finals? Or will Sacramento send it back to Dallas on Saturday for one of the best things in sports, a Game 7? Joe Maloof, the owner of the Kings, he can't watch courtside, but courtside he would see a show from Nick Van Exel in the third.
Well, he's just one of those guards, when he gets going, no one can stop him. First off, he drops off Doug Christie, then Mike Bibby. This time going around Bobby Jackson, and again, Bobby Jackson, you cannot gamble on Nick Van Exel out on the perimeter. In all my years watching Van Exel, I've never seen anybody take the ball away from him in the open court. He's a master with the basketball, and he's one of those guys, again, if he gets hot, you can't put a little guy on him because he's going to post him up and destroy him in the block area. And you put a big man on him, he's going to toy with him on the perimeter.
And Sean, he also feeds on the crowd getting on him as well.
Yeah, one of those guys, when you start booing him or the hecklers start saying all the derogatory comments, this guy picks up his game.
Van Exel starts the fourth quarter with Walt Williams, Michael Finley, Dirk Nowitzki, and Raja Bell for Dallas. He starts with a three. Missed it, and the rebound for Stojakovic.
I won't lie, that one looked good. I was right behind him, right on the mark.
Mike Bibby starts the fourth on the bench as well. It's Turkoglu, Jimmy Jackson, Peja Stojakovic, Doug Christie, Bobby Jackson with the ball. Goes all the way. Rebound by Nowitzki. Dirk has pulled down his 8th rebound of the night. Finley climbs across the lane. Peja goes up to get the board.
Tough shot that time. But I still like the penetration by Michael Finley. When that defense collapses, that's when you look for your teammates.
Christie abused Van Exel. They've switched Raja Bell on him. A better defender caused the contact and drew the foul. On Bellitz's third, Nowitzki has 3. LaFrentz and Van Exel each have 4. Sacramento tried to do something the franchise has never done. Win games 6 and 7. It's only the 5th game 6 in the history of both franchises. Dallas 2-2, Sacramento 1-3. The only win was when the Sacramento franchise was in Cincinnati in '63. They beat Boston in Game 6, lost to the Celtics in Game 7, and as happened almost every year in the '60s, those Celtics went on to win the NBA championship.
I don't know if that will ever happen again in this league. We have a team that's so dominant.
Nowitzki over Stojakovic. Fight for the ball. It will stay with Dallas. Talked about this Sacramento franchise. Their owners, Reggie Jackson, sitting next to Gavin Maloof, one of the owners. Come on, Reg. You've been on TV your whole life. Move back. Gavin's
I'll grab by the shoulder.
And there's Joe Maloof in the tunnel, along with general manager Jeff Petrie of this team. They can't watch from courtside seats. Van Exel over Turkoglu, splashes down another one. That is 3 30-plus point games off the bench in this series for Nick Van Exel. As we said earlier, one of the best series off the bench by a man in NBA history. Stojakovic is fouled. Let's see who this one's on. 43, Walt Williams.
After Van Exel just absolutely shakes, bakes, deep fries, and bastes Turkoglu just gives him a look after he makes that shot like, you know, what am I going to do? That's 6'10", trying to get that shot, and he just gets a mouthful of jumper.
Van Exel now has gone over 26 times in these playoffs. It's approaching the record, which is 8 by Thurl Bailey of Utah in '88 and Ricky Pierce of the Bucks in '89.
So you're in a perilous position when a guy like Nick Van Exel gets this high. Because what are you going to do? You put a guy 6'10" on him, you put your best defender on him, and if he's still eating him up, you got to double team him. And that's going to free up a plethora of outside shooters for the Mavericks.
If Christie and Bobby Jackson can't slow him down, who's going to? Nobody on this Sacramento team. Turkoglu fouls Nowitzki.
They're just picking on poor Turkoglu. First it was Van Exel. Now it's Dirk Nowitzki taking his shot.
Hedo has 3 team fouls in this quarter. Dallas 2, Sacramento 1. Always in the fourth quarter of a playoff game, you see who gets to the bonus first. Nowitzki 8 of 8 at the line tonight.
But you see, even here, Turkoglu against a 7-footer, he almost gets to that shot. And he thinks he got a piece of it. And that shows you how talented Nick Van Exel is, because that last time down the floor, Turkoglu didn't even get close to making that block.
An arm so long, it's hard not to get a piece of it as you try to go up and deter a shot. Little zone here for the Mavs. Bobby Jackson tries to bake it. Break it with the 3. He can bake it and get hot as well. Sacramento breaks the tie, 94-91.
A nice rhythm jumper by Bobby Jackson. Excellent ball movement. He was waiting on that pass.
Nowitzki over Turkoglu again. In and out.
That's a quick shot. That's when you have to put the ball on the floor and make something happen.
Nowitzki jumps Bobby Jackson, nearly forced a turnover. Bell and Christie fight for it. A little pushing and shoving between the two. Danny Crawford right in there as the jump ball is called.
Bobby Jackson, nice pass around the perimeter. He's left wide open. And that's just awareness on the perimeter.
He went for that little trap out of the zone. And they're gay for it.
Exactly, but you have to know where your shooters are. And you don't leave a guy like Bobby Jackson wide open on the perimeter.
Christie and Raja Bell with the tip. Deflects off Nowitzki's right hand. And stays with the Kings, 16 to shoot. Long rest here for Nash and Bibby, the 2 point guards. Bob Delaney calls a conference just to make sure that all is right with the timing here. Only 6 Sacramento turnovers tonight. They have not turned it over here in the second half. Bobby Jackson left free.
And he's falling away on that jumper. Caught that ball, he's back on his heels.
10 boards for Nowitzki. A double-double for Dirk. He's had double-digit boards in every game of this series. Finley inside is fouled. Now 2 fouls on each team here in the quarter. Just inside of 9 minutes. Rick Adelman trying to keep Sacramento's season alive and force Game 7 in Dallas.
Time for our Dockers Defender's Edge, and Greg Anthony, once again, our production crew working hard and finding defense in this game.
Oh, they did a heck of a job coming up with these 2 plays because obviously Dallas shooting 53% from the field. Not a lot of opportunities.
Log on to ESPN.com and vote for the Dockers Defender's Edge. Gentlemen.
Guys, here as we are just inside of 9, it's Sacramento by 3. Vlade Divac's back on the floor, and here's David Aldridge with more.
Guys, all year the Sacramento Kings have been trying to rest Vlade Divac. It's one of the reasons when Scott Pollard got injured, it was such a blow to him. They know that Vlade Divac is 36 years old, and right now they really believe he's a 30-minute player. They don't think he can give them much more than that. That's why they give him so many breaks during the first half. Coming into the stretch, he's played 26 minutes. There's 9 minutes left to go. Guys?
Well, David, he was part of the World Championships in Indianapolis this past August. And Sean, you can speak to it very well. That's a long season for someone of his age and the amount of basketball he's played.
When you consider last season, he goes to Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, turns around and participates in the World Games. The next thing you know, you're back in training camp. That's too much basketball when you're that old. At 36 years old, you can still play, but believe me, if I'd gone through a schedule like that, I'd be doing this game from a stretcher.
Well, Divac's back on the floor, likely the rest of the way. Sacramento by 1 after the free throws by Dallas. Nowitzki draws the defensive assignment. Vlade kept it alive. A little curly knee dribble, and Christie short on the 3. Good hustle to the board by Jim Jackson. Towards Bobby Jackson, Doug Christie, Peja Stojakovic, and Vlade. Bobby comes down the lane. Nowitzki showed defensively and altered the shot. Back comes Van Exel on the run with 2 teammates. And Finley at the line. Missed the 3, Van Exel the board. Quick trigger, Nick. Puts the Mavericks on top by 1.
I'm not sure that he even had both his legs underneath him when he shot that ball. When he came down with the offensive rebound, looked like one of his legs almost gave out. He almost stumbled. He goes right back up with it.
Asia lost it on the way up. Got it back. Bobby Jackson twirling. Sent away by Walt Williams. But Jimmy Jackson got it back and draws the foul. Walt Williams took that in a painful spot.
That's never any good because everybody in the arena knows. Watch Nick Van Exel. He stumbles when he gets this ball, goes right up with it. That's when you know you're unconscious. That's when you have it going on. He doesn't even care that Bobby Jackson is in the vicinity. Straight up with the basketball after coming down with it awkwardly.
14 of 19 from the field. 33 points. Third 30-plus game of the series. And what an acquisition for the Mavs. Jimmy Jackson will have one more.
I tell you what, Mike, I'm not a huge proponent of just strictly one-on-one basketball, but coming down the stretch, when you look at numbers like that, 14 for 19 for the field, and the way he's shooting with a ton of confidence, I'm almost likely to just come down and pass him the ball and clear out a side from him for him every time down the floor.
Extraordinary free throw shooting by Sacramento tonight. 23 of 24 at the line, taking advantage of getting there. They lead by one. 7:45 to go in regulation. Must win to keep the season alive for the Kings. Nowitzki left free on the pick and roll. Missed the three. Christie the rebound. Still no Bibby and Nash. They're getting a long break here. Christie tries to get that foul on Van Exel. Beautiful bounce to Stojakovic.
You can see all the backdoor cutting, all the ball movement, the body's moving. They're an excellent backdoor team, and that comes directly from their bench.
Van Exel, bad angle, off the glass. Divac took the shot in the face. Nash ready to come in. Bibby won't be too far behind. Sacramento trying to take a 5-point lead. Jimmy Jackson backing in on Bell. Lost it, wants the foul, and picked up a technical foul. Joe Forte calling a technical foul on Jimmy Jackson, who just turned and screamed the wrong words at the wrong time. And Nowitzki will take the tee.
There's a time and place where you take a tee, and that's a good one to take. If you feel like you get fouled, you have to take a technical every once in a while. You're at home.
But Sean, it's the fourth quarter. You're up 3. Every point counts in a game. You've got to have to keep playing.
It really does. But sometimes you take a tee, and then the calls start to go your way, and I've seen that more often than not.
All right. Mavs 3 team fouls in the quarter. Sacramento 2. Little mile post for you there. LaFrance, good job to stick with it. Vlade attacks the glass. Jimmy Jackson gets the rebound.
And I know exactly what you're saying, but you still have basically 7 minutes left in this ballgame. If you're going to take a tee in the last minute or 30 seconds, that's obviously something that you don't want to do, but you still have plenty of time.
Divac has it slapped away. He didn't complain about that call. Nash back on the floor with Van Exel. LaFrance, Nowitzki, and Finley. Van Exel finds Nash to Finley for a corner 3. That hit the shot clock. It's out of bounds in Sacramento ball.
I'm telling you, the way Nick Van Exel's penetrating, shooting the basketball, I almost leave the ball in his hands, and then he makes everybody else on the floor better. That time when he penetrated baseline, the entire defense is focused on what he's going to do, and he has his options on the perimeter. He had Nash that time, he had Finley, and probably Nowitzki if he could turn around and get that pass to him.
Boy, isn't it bizarre? Mike Bibby's still on the bench here. 7 years, $80 million. He's one of your big guys. Must win. He's still on the bench. Stojakovic can't get it. Jimmy Jackson the rebound. Vlade re-tees Jimmy Jackson.
Nice presence of mind by Jim Jackson not to force up a shot to get Vlade in the block.
Stojakovic, 3! Sacramento run. Here is Finley. Thrown away. Stolen by Christie. These fans ready to explode. Kings in a must-win situation. Trying to force Game 7. Divac takes it. Jackson comes down with the rebound.
And you're going to look at the box score in the morning if the Kings win this game, and Jim Jackson's numbers may not be impressive, but he's playing an outstanding floor game.
LaFrance fighting Divac, trying to deny the position. Vlade loses it, got it back. Rebound, Nowitzki. And he loses it out of bounds. Sacramento, 7-0 run. They lead by 6. Trying to survive Game 6 and force Game 7.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs, brought to you by Sprite. Obey your thirst.
They're rocking the loud house of the league on their feet at Arco, 178th consecutive sellout, trying to will their Kings without Chris Webber to an ultimate game in Dallas on Saturday. Those of you just joining us, here are the big stories on the Miller Lite storyline tonight. Sacramento now under 50%. Dallas has had a very poor shooting quarter, just 2 of 11. Nick Van Exel's third game over 30 in the series. Divac has had 17, but the offense has run through Vlade, and that's been so important for Sacramento's offense, Sean Elliott.
And he's done an exceptional job finding his teammates, and not only that, they've had a quiet contribution from Jim Jackson. Watch him. There he is. He goes and he sets a screen on Dirk Nowitzki. Michael Finley a little late out there on the pass. Stojakovic wide open, and those are the type of things you don't see in the box score. Look at Stojakovic. He's begging for this basketball. Finally gets a nice screen. You saw Jim Jackson in the corner of your screen there. Wide open look, nice rhythm jumper. Stojakovic, nice jumper. Vlade Divac, beautiful pass.
Well, Sean, he's hit 2 of 3 in this quarter after having 39 in that double overtime game. How much did it take out of him? In games 4, 5, in the first 3 quarters of the 6th game, Stojakovic was 16 of 48 and had hit only 2 3-pointers. Maybe he's getting a little bit of his shot, his legs back here in the 4th. Sacramento tries to go a bait. Asia stuck inside. Jimmy Jackson the bailout and the basket.
Jim Jackson has been a hero for the Sacramento Kings in this second half. He has 14 points, 10 rebounds, 7 of them offensive.
Nash can't finish. Jackson making 11 rebounds.
And he's playing tough, hard-nosed basketball. Gets that rebound and shoves Steve Nash aside.
A 9-0 run without Weber, with Bibby on the bench. Vlade to Bobby Jackson. Inside, Jim Jackson's denied by LaFrance. 2 to shoot, 1 to shoot, it never reset. Shot clock violation, they never saw it. It never reset. Adams was trying to yell and get the attention of Doug Christie, but you can't hear the guy next to you in Arco at this point.
That's when your crowd noise works against you. He caught that ball and he was unaware, as were 3 or 4 other players on the floor.
Nice. LaFrance down the lane, draws the foul. And again, the Sacramento fans, very good basketball IQ for fans. They are applauding. Not the guy in his butt. No way. Where's Chuck Daly? Chuck's probably watching in Florida, ready for a tee time tomorrow morning. There are no layups in the playoffs.
Absolutely not. In the guts of a ball game, in the last 5 minutes of the game, you cannot allow a guy to go in there untouched.
LaFrance, who returned to the lineup in Game 5, has been strong in Game 6 as well. Rattles in the first. You can follow the NBA legends on NBA.com with the Love It Live playoff tour. Well, they both went in.
Rafe was shooting that Wilt Chamberlain free throw. He shot it and went right after it.
It is 6 at the 3:50 mark. That stops the Sacramento run. What will it be? Divac takes LaFrance down and draws another foul on Rafe.
That's because Vlade only has to run 8 feet away from the bucket every time he catches the ball.
His 5th.
He catches it in his comfort zone, and then he begins to go to work. The old man knows how to play the game. He feels that pressure in the middle. Rafe Prince overplaying. Nice spin move toward the baseline.
Sacramento's been extraordinary at the line tonight. They've hit all but one of their 24 free throws. You know, I don't think Mike Bibby's hurt. He's standing up, and I give Rick Adelman a lot of credit. You know, in other teams, and you got a guy making $80 million for 7 years who is one of the big guns on your team.
Right.
You go with him no matter what, win or lose. He's got the quality players to not go with him, but here he is on the bench in crunch time with the season on the line.
But if your team is playing well, you have to accept that, and you have to let the other guys do their job out there on the floor. That's what it's about, being a team.
Van Exel's been quiet, lost the handle. This will be a jump ball. Michael Finley was trying to get a timeout call, but no possession for Van Exel. Good job by the officials working together there.
Now Michael Finley ran all the way across the court to try to call a timeout for Nick Van Exel.
Now he's going to go back to Walt Williams here. The star of Game 3, who had 10 points in both overtimes. to get ready for the Fritz. Fans chant Bobby for the 6th man of the year, Bobby Jackson. A.C. Williams numbers. The former Sacramento first-round draft pick. Van Exel went up high, but on the second bounce, it ends up with Stojakovic. Sacramento has not had a double-digit lead. They won't hear. Nash with the steal. All the way. 6-point game, and Dallas can score in lightning fashion, so be very careful.
I wasn't sure Steve Nash was going to even get that ball up. Bobby Jackson had a beat on him and almost blocked that layup.
Stojakovic got the wall from Divac. Bobby Jackson in the lane. Tough shot! Wow, what a release! It's 8. The owner, Joe Maloof's in the hallway playing defense. Van Exel goes in, and he got that one to go. 35 for Nick tonight.
Not only are does the NBA possess the finest athletes in the world, but half of them may be on this floor. Bobby Jackson's shot was astounding.
Divac this time double, and stepped out of bounds. Fans wanted a foul from the helping Walt Williams, so did Vlade. It was not called, and we have a timeout. As Vlade pleads his case, he's got to be careful because he has a technical from earlier on, and his teammates are coming back out to make sure he comes back.
He should have saved it for that call.
What a play by Bobby Jackson a moment ago in the lane. It's all about keeping a season alive. It doesn't have to be artistic. This is playground basketball. It may not win you a championship, but it can get you within one win of the Western Conference Finals. Sacramento by 6. 2:18 to go. Jackson's been good. Who's going to be the hero in the final 2:18? Sacramento, they try to urge their Kings on as they lead by 6. Mike Tirico with Sean Elliott and David Aldridge. Usually Tom Tolbert is here at this point of the night. Tom worked the earlier game on ABC. But without him, we still have Sprite, Mad, Skills.
And then from all around, Jim Jackson knocking down the 3 ball, going outside. Beautiful pass again, Jim Jackson cutting, getting the ball inside, and here he is again, right place at the right time. I don't think so. The guy's just active. He's aware. He's full of energy and intensity, and that's your Sprite, Mad Skills.
Come on, give me one. Here's David Aldridge.
As Jimmy Jackson was the last of the 3 J's to be traded from the Dallas Mavericks in 1997. And after that happened, Don Nelson called the whole group a bunch of babies. Jim Jackson thinks that got him blackballed from the NBA. And that's one of the reasons why he's bounced from team to team. Atlanta, Portland, Cleveland. If you don't think Jim Jackson's taking this series personally, you thought wrong.
His 9th team here, David, didn't get here till mid-season with all the injuries going on. Tough fighting for position. Divac has it now. Across on Nowitzki for 2.
That's just a cherry on top for Divac tonight. He's played an outstanding ball game.
Foul is called on Nowitzki. I don't think it was in the act of shooting. Let's see. The Sac does have a foul to give here in the last 2 minutes.
Here's Vlade just showing extreme patience here in the block. Doesn't try to rush the shot. He knows the shot, or the clock rather, is your ally right now. And Vlade with a nice power move across the middle.
They call that foul in the act of shooting. I don't know about that. Perhaps they were going to call continuation. That didn't look like it was in the act. Vlade has 21 points in 33 minutes. Nowitzki made the first.
When you're talking about Jim Jackson, one thing that you also have to remember, for young players, when they first get in the league, they're concerned about their numbers. As you get older, you start to realize it's not about that. It's about winning. And Jim Jackson certainly has made a huge difference in this Kings team this year.
Nowitzki, no field goal, Sean, in this quarter. 4 points. The contact draws the foul on Michael Finley, who is shaken up. Holding that left shoulder as he hit the neck hard in the collision. As Michael gets up, let's remind you, tonight on the East Coast, Sean Joyce, Brett Musburger, and David for Pistons Sixers. Game 6. Pistons trying to close it out at the First Union Center. Sixers trying to force Game 7. And if Game 7 of the series is necessary, it'll be on TNT at 8 Eastern Saturday night. And remember, on ABC on Sunday, we'll have either Game 1 of the Eastern Finals or Game 7 of Detroit-Philly. Bobby Jackson makes the first. Either way, we'll be at the Palace of Auburn Hills starting at 1 o'clock with the pregame on ABC on Sunday. How good has Sacramento been at the free throw line? 74% of the season, nearly 100% tonight. Plus 90 seconds to go. Bobby Jackson scored 19 tonight. Nash will take 3 and make 3.
He's so gutsy. This guy has never backed down to a big shot.
5-point game, 78 seconds. Van Exel on the defense against Bobby Jackson. The 2 stud 6 men on their teams. D-Bots goes baseline. Nowitzki the rebound. What defensive help from Walt Williams. What a huge possession here.
There's nowhere to go there for Lonnie D-Bots.
Van Exel missed the 3. Rajab Bell's going to chase it down to keep it alive. Final minute. Nowitzki posting. Nash for another 3. He made it. 2-point game.
And Christie was dangerously close to getting a foul on that call. Nash almost went to the line for 4.
This is going to Vlade on the post again. Nowitzki fronting. He can't get it in there. So Vlade comes to set a screen for Stojakovic. The Mavericks can tie or take the lead.
Tough shot that time. He had plenty of time to get a much better attempt.
To their best. To Nowitzki. Kicks it out to Williams, the hero of Game 3. To Nash. Slipped and fell. Williams, that's 3. Rebound Bobby Jackson. They've got to foul him here. And they do with 8.5 to go.
The Mavs have to take 2 on that possession. Dirk Nowitzki made a nice move to the middle. He had that turnaround jumper from about 10, and he passed it up. He gave it to a guy on the perimeter. That's his shot. It's his time to take it.
Bobby Jackson comes to the line. Very good shooter. 89% in these playoffs. Dallas still has 3 timeouts remaining. And they'll take 1 here to ice the shooter and also set the strategy. Big free throw for Jackson to make it a 2-possession game. Sacramento so close to forcing a 7th game. The politically correct thing for the San Antonio Spurs to say is we don't care who we play. But I can tell you one thing. They're rooting for Sacramento right now.
Absolutely.
That means the winner will have to play a Game 7 in Dallas and turn around and head to San Antone on Monday for the start of the Western Conference Finals.
I tell you what, I'm not so sure that those guys even care. Because the way they're playing right now, they'd rather have that day off and play again. You know, the years we went through it, we swept the Lakers and we swept Portland. We had to wait 7 or 10 days or so to face the Knicks. We weren't as sharp.
Huge free throw made by Jackson. The Kings have made 29 of 30 free throws here tonight.
Dallas had a golden opportunity to tie this ball game.
It's not over yet. Dallas still has a timeout left. Down 4. Bobby Jackson has been huge for Sacramento here tonight. Dallas has 1 timeout left. Sacramento plenty. Every foul's a free throw, but it's a 2-possession game thanks to this made free throw by Jackson. That sent the fans at Arco to another level of glee. And Gavin Maluk, one of the owners, trying to force a Game 7. Remember, Dallas can foul and call the timeout. If they score here, they are still very much alive. Walt Williams to trigger.
They got to score as quickly as possible here.
Nowitzki takes it. He missed it. Rebound, Jim Jackson, who is fouled. And should just about do it with 4 and 7/10 seconds to go.
Few different reactions.
I'll give that man a lot of credit. He kept Mike Bibby on the bench here, down the stretch. Nick Van Exel has quieted down. Jim Jackson's been huge. One more coming for the 4th overall pick of the Mavs in 1992, who still has some business interest in the Dallas area and some restaurants. He may have a chance to serve dinner on Saturday night. There. Made them both. It's +6. Saving the timeout. Van Exel will launch the 3. It's over. And that'll be our 7th game. The amazing Sacramento fans on their feet throughout. The Dallas Mavericks a game effort. But the Kings force Game 7, 8 o'clock on TNT, Saturday night in Dallas. For Sean Elliott, David Aldridge, and our great crew who handled all the West games this year, Mike Tirico. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. There'll be a 7th game, and here's sports.